Hypocrisy's the best policy. Wish for change but lazily. Century of debilitation. Your evolution is a damnation. Warranties can't fix a heart. Industrialize and drive us apart. What you advertise can't rationalize. Shining a new one fits any lie. You know, one of the things I enjoy the most about hosting this podcast is when I get to sit down with players, coaches, parents, and fans to talk pucks. As the fifth in my series on being a female hockey player, I sat down with Mackenzie Schroeder, junior defenseman for the Monroe Woodbury Crusaders, and Samantha Garnet, assistant coach for the Monroe Woodbury Crusaders. Enjoy. Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Trav, aka 5 Minute Major, and I'm pleased to be joined by Mackenzie Schroeder, junior defense for the Monroe Woodbury Crusaders. She's taken a few minutes out to speak with me this morning about being a female hockey player. Thank you so much, Mackenzie, for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
It's my pleasure. How old were you when you started skating?
I was around 4 years old when I first started skating.
When did you start playing hockey?
I did learn to skate for years, and then I started playing at the age of 5.
Okay, nice. Let me ask you now. I told you I wasn't going to ask any questions that aren't on my list, but this one should be easy to answer. How does it feel to be the first and only female hockey player to score a goal in Monroe Woodbury Crusader history?
It's such a big accomplishment for me, and I paved the way for girls to come for the future, for when they come up.
And I have to tell you, last year when the program was threatened with termination, I know at a couple of the board meetings, I know your mom certainly stood up and spoke about how proud she was of you and the fact that you scored that goal and you're forever in the history books. And I know that you spend a lot of time with younger players now, and they really think it's cool when they see a girl playing hockey.
Yes.
So what do you like the most about playing for Monroe Woodbury, playing high school hockey?
I just love being a team with all of the guys and just being able to hang out with them like one of the dudes and be able to talk to them and enjoy all of the time together. I've
talked to a lot of different players about playing high school versus playing travel, and they'll say that sometimes, the level of hockey, the play when you're doing travel is more competitive, but you can't replicate playing in front of family and friends and the community. And a perfect example of that is the Winter Classic that we just did on Friday. I mean, the tremendous outpouring from both Monroe and the North Rockland communities was amazing. It was amazing.
Yeah. It's such a different experience just playing for family and then just playing for random parents.
What's your pregame routine, Mackenzie? Can you walk us through it? Do you do anything as far as your equipment or anything to prepare?
I don't really do too much. I just like to stretch with my team, hang out with them before the game, listen to some music, and then I'm in the locker room with another girl this year. So we just talk pregame strategy together, and then we just go into the locker room for the pregame talk.
Nice. What's playing on the device? What kind of music are you listening to?
I listen to some rap music. I like country. It really depends on the day.
Okay, yeah, that's the answer I get most from the players too. It really depends. It could be rock, it could be rap, it could be country. Really just kind of depends on the mood and how you're trying to get in the zone. In your opinion, Mackenzie, I know you play for obviously the Crusaders, but I know you spend some time with the Rampo Saints as well. What's the toughest rink to play in?
Jersey City, most definitely, because it gets very foggy and you could barely see the puck at sometimes.
Wow, so you're the first one to give me that answer. I love it. So Jersey City, the rink in Jersey City, very foggy, very difficult to play in. All right, so along those lines, let's say you're taking a road trip down to Jersey City. What's one thing you absolutely have to bring with you on that road trip?
My headphones, definitely.
Nice. Okay, great. Do you have an embarrassing on-ice moment that you can share with us?
Yeah, when I was 5, I'd just first started playing, and my brother's team, who was older than me, needed an extra player, so I was like, I'll go play. So I was with all the older guys, and I didn't know that you couldn't hand pass or anything like that. So I was in front of the net, and I fell, but the puck was in front of the net, so I took my hand and I threw it in, and they like called a no goal, and I was so embarrassed because like I didn't know that you couldn't do that.
That is an embarrassing moment, but again, you didn't know. But again, your instinct was put the puck in the net. I love it.
Yeah.
What's the biggest challenge you've faced, either on the ice or off the ice, for being a female hockey player?
Just having to prove myself that I can hold my own to my teammates and to the coach.
Oh, okay, and you definitely have done that. I mean, I saw you last year. I've seen you this year, working as the PA announcer for Monroe. So you definitely have nothing to prove at this point, in my opinion. You definitely belong out there. Have you ever been treated differently, like either chirped or hit, either on the ice or off the ice because of your gender?
Yeah, there's definitely some chirping that goes on. Like, kids call me princess or stuff like that. And some kids, like, it depends on the boy, but, like, some will hit me harder, and some will just, like, back off because they can tell I'm a girl.
When they call you princess, do they get a little butt end of your stick when no one's looking?
Yeah.
All right. That's a girl. I like that. There are rumors, Mackenzie, about there becoming like Section 1's looking to create an all-girls hockey league. What are your thoughts? I know you play, obviously, co-ed. What are your thoughts on perhaps having an all-girls hockey league?
I feel like that's an amazing step for women's hockey, for them to be able to have the opportunity to play all together instead of with the guys, even though personally I do enjoy playing with the guys.
Yeah, regardless of who I've spoken to, there's something about playing with the girls as far as Willow Barnes described this, that the passing and the play is so precise because they don't allow hitting. So it's tape-to-tape passes and it's just a different flow. Whereas when you play with the boys, it's more physical. There's hitting. It's just a different atmosphere. So, I love your answer because I think it would be a huge step for there to be a all-girls hockey league. But I know that a lot of the girls I've spoken to also enjoy playing that co-ed experience.
Yeah.
I
personally have never played on a girls' team, so I have like nothing to compare it to.
Gotcha. What's your favorite sport to play besides hockey?
I'm also a lacrosse player. I was on varsity my sophomore year for Monroe Woodbury, and I do a travel team for that.
Wow. Multi-talented. And there is that strong lacrosse-hockey connection that I've noticed.
Oh, most definitely. It's very similar. That's why it was really easy for me to pick up when I first started playing.
Do you play defense for lacrosse too?
I do.
Nice. I think I know I have two more questions for you, Mackenzie, and I really do appreciate, again, you taking the time out. I know the answer to one of them, but I'm going to ask it anyway. First question, favorite professional hockey player, past or present?
Definitely Brendan Shanahan. He's the reason why I wore 14 for my travel. Me and my grandpa, that was our lucky number, and we just loved watching him play together.
I love it. He was, he had a very short stint with the Rangers, as you know, but I remember at MSG, and I know your dad's connected to MSG with the Ranger alum, but at MSG, one of the big tough guys for Philadelphia at the time, Donald Brashear, was hitting anything and everything in a Ranger uniform, and Brendan Shanahan, at his age, he was a little bit up there at that point, dropped the glove, center ice, and took care of business for his team. So,
yes.
Gritty, hard-nosed, proud, clean player, and he's really doing some great things now with the Toronto Maple Leafs organization.
Yeah.
He's really gotten them in the right direction. So, okay, I think I know the answer to this, although on Friday, Kevin wore a Capitals jacket to Bear Mountain, and I'm like, what are you wearing that for? I'm like, I had him on my show. We were talking Rangers playoffs. He's like, I like the Winter Classic, and it's a warm jacket. I'm like, yeah, but it says Capitals on it. Anyway, favorite professional hockey team, Mackenzie Schroeder.
Definitely the New York Rangers.
I love it. I hope they can continue to string some wins together and play a complete game.
Me too.
Because again, hockey's great in this area when the Rangers, as much as I hate to say it, the Devils and the Islanders are playing well. So, and I know we got the Winter Classic coming up to look forward to. So anyway, Ladies and gentlemen, you've been listening to Mackenzie Schroeder. She's a junior. She plays defense for the Monroe Woodbury Crusaders. And she's part of, again, the ongoing series on being a female hockey player. So again, Mackenzie, thank you so much for spending some time with me today.
No problem.
All right. Enjoy your day, and we'll talk soon.
Thank you.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is your boy Trav, aka 5 Minute Major, and I'm pleased to be joined by Samantha Garnet. She is the assistant coach for the Monroe Woodbury hockey varsity team. She also coaches several other teams in the district. Samantha, thanks so much for coming on today.
Thank you for having me.
It's my pleasure. It's my pleasure. Can you please give us your coaching resume?
Okay, so I coach the girls JV soccer team at Monroe. I'm the assistant varsity ice hockey coach, and then I'm the varsity girls lacrosse coach.
Okay, so you wear a lot of hats in the district in addition to also being a teacher, right? You're a health teacher at the high school?
Absolutely, yep.
Okay.
Yes, I am.
Nice. What are some of the similarities between coaching lacrosse and ice hockey, would you say?
The skills transfer very nicely. A lot of the hockey players actually make really good lacrosse players because of the stick handling skills. They tend to transfer very nicely. The way the offense and the defense is set up sometimes can be very similar. And, just like different strategies and stuff like that can certainly play from one sport to another and translate.
And in talking to a lot of, high school hockey players, a lot of them do make the transition as soon as the season's over. They jump right out into lacrosse. So there is that strong lacrosse hockey connection. What's the biggest challenge you face as a coach in general, would you say?
As a coach in general, I think taking a group of kids that, might not necessarily be hanging out in school all throughout the year or anything like that, and then all of a sudden having 20 plus kids and getting them to work as a cohesive unit. It's definitely a challenge, but I also think it's one of the more rewarding parts about coaching because, driving home, the one team mission kind of thing and it works, and you can see the progress throughout the season where the kids are working towards one goal and working together and supporting each other, which is really cool.
Yeah, I would agree. Certainly I'm an educator as well, so I think there's no bigger reward than taking a group of kids, at the beginning of the season or at the beginning of the school year and getting them to buy into your philosophy, your style, what you have to teach them, what you want to do with them, what you want them to accomplish, and see it come to its fruition. So it's certainly challenging and rewarding at the same time. I know you also play ice hockey from time to time, Samantha. What's your most embarrassing on-ice moment, if you can share that?
Can you repeat that one more time? I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry, yeah. The most embarrassing on-ice moment?
It's embarrassing on-ice moment. Actually, would probably have to be this year. Usually when I'm on the ice, I have skates on, and this is being my first season coaching on the ice in boots and everything else, and it's much slipperier than you would think. And I almost went down. Thankfully, Coach Alessandrino was able to scoop me up before I really went down in front of everybody, but that was pretty embarrassing.
Yeah, I always, yesterday, as a matter of fact, during the senior game, the door was open, the door that the team enters the ice onto, and I say to myself, and the Zamboni had just finished, and I said to myself, do I want to risk walking directly across the ice, which would be shorter, or do I walk all the way around and cut through the benches? And I chose the latter of the two options because my biggest fear is to go crashing to the ice because it is, after the Zamboni leaves the ice, it is super slippery, it's wet. So even if you do the shuffle, I don't have to tell you, it's treacherous. And again, this might be a tough answer, what's your favorite sport to play between all the sports that you coach and that you play? What's your favorite, if you have one?
Well, I am a big runner, so I think that's one of the things that I still enjoy doing on a pretty much daily basis. But besides that, definitely hockey. Hockey is such an interesting sport in the fact where, there's all these adult leagues and men's leagues and everything like that. And the joy for hockey never leaves. The joy of strapping on the skates and playing, even if it's at 11 o'clock at night in a men's league, is still so much fun.
Sure, absolutely. You're out there with all the benders and all the danglers at, midnight for that ice spot.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
the late time slot is a little bit of it's a little rough, but, it's totally worth it.
Oh, yeah. I'll be at Brewster Ice Arena, let's say, for a 9 o'clock game on a Friday night. And once the game ends and the high school kids file out, you get all the older guys coming in with their bags and their very colorful jerseys and their different team names. It's pretty neat. It's pretty neat to see. Oh, it seems like a blast. Do you think the players treat you differently? Let's say on the hockey team per se, because it's mostly boys. Do you think the players treat you differently sometimes because of your gender?
I think to a certain extent, I think there might be some instances. But all in all, you know what? All the boys have been extremely respectful and appreciative and, great to work with. I've had such a blast working with them.
I have to tell you, I snuck into the locker room yesterday. I was standing behind you as Coach was giving his pregame speech before the tilt against Somers North Salem. Congratulations on the win, by the way. And I stood there, and he turned to you, and you picked up right where he left off. And again, I never played, but I've watched enough of the sport and been around enough of the sport and the players to know. I mean, what you said was spot on too. And the kids really did seem to respond to what you said. So I'm glad to hear that for the most part, it's been a great experience for you. Do you have a favorite professional hockey player?
Ooh, so my favorite team is, I'm a diehard Rangers fan.
Okay.
And player, it used to be, growing up, it was Mike Richter.
Okay, sure.
Yeah. So, and since then, I've kind of bounced around a little bit, but Mike Richter would probably be top up there. All
right, so we'll go with favorite professional player, Mike Richter. Nothing wrong with that. Stanley Cup champ. Certainly still does some things. He's very big into the environment, Samantha. I'm not sure if you're aware of this. Like, he went back to school and got a degree, and I think he's working with companies on making NHL arenas more environmentally friendly, and he just really seems to be, just kind of into giving back to the sport and, trying to just make the sport better for everyone. And favorite professional hockey team, you and I can both agree on that. You touched on this a little bit, but I was curious to see if you wanted to elaborate at all. What do you enjoy the most about coaching high school athletes?
Coaching high school athletes, I would have to say, watching the growth between, the beginning of the season to the end of the season. And not just, as their skills develop and their knowledge of the game develops, but them as, people, And I think being a coach and, any high school coach, you have the opportunity to make, such a difference in, a high school athlete's life. And kind of seeing that impact while watching them grow. And you know what? Besides that, it's just so much fun.
Yeah.
It's fun hanging out with them. They're funny. They have a good time, and they really have a true joy for the sport, which is fun.
I love the answer. And last question, Samantha. If you weren't a teacher, you'd be a fill in the blank.
Well, you know what? I think I would actually have a talk show, a sports talk show geared towards female athletes.
I love it. And listen, if you ever want to come back on and talk about your other coaching experiences, if there's any advice you want to give as far as training or nutrition, I'd love to have you back on. I certainly could see you being very successful as host of your own podcast or show about women's athletics. I've been chatting with Samantha Garnet. She's the assistant head coach for the Monroe Woodbury varsity hockey team, and she also coaches several other sports for the Monroe Woodbury Central School District. Samantha, I really do appreciate you taking the time out. I hope you enjoy the rest of your Sunday, and I will see you February 3rd, which is the next Crusaders home game at ice time.
All right, sounds good. Thank you so much for having me.
It was my pleasure. Take care. And this is your boy Trav, and you're listening to the HV Pucks podcast.